All right, welcome to the latest episode of the Colman Power Organic Fitness Podcast. And I have my latest guest here in front of me, Alma Kelleher. Alma, say hello to the listeners.
Hey everybody. Can't believe I'm actually doing a podcast.
She's after getting her hair done specifically for this podcast, she's after telling me, and a new top.
just for you.
Right, so I suppose I want you to tell the listeners a small bit about yourself, maybe your background and currently what you do. And I suppose we'll go from there, Alma.
Ooh, the pressure. Okay. So this is the elevator pitch. So the famous
Yes.
elevator pitch. Okay. I am a mum of two. I live in Cork. I work as a registered dental hygienist, and I've been working in dentistry maybe the last 13 years, but specializing in hygiene the last maybe 6 years. Loving what I do. It's kind of me in a nutshell, but I do training on the side. So yeah, that has a story in its own as well.
Interesting. Am I right in saying you've done a bodybuilding competition? I suppose I'd like you to tell the listeners a little bit about that and what your experience was, I suppose, with the training involved and the foods inclusive of what you had to do to get through to a certain physique.
I did. I competed back in 2016. So I had been training, I'd say, since 2012. And my goal was always to compete. But I wanted to compete before I ever decided to have more children, because I know it does put a lot of pressure on your body. So decided, with all the weightlifting that I'd done throughout the years, I surely have enough, muscle in my body to, if I drop a bit of body fat, it might show. Pleasantly it did. So competed in 2016, and I knew straight away that it was the most amazing experience, yet the most hardest experience in my life. I don't think I'd do it again. I have a few people that do ask, would you do it again? I personally wouldn't. I did step on stage as a mum, so that in itself was an accomplishment, but also pretty hard when you're up against women who are in their early 20s and who haven't had children at all, and probably have aesthetic work done as well. So it's nice to step up there as a natural. Really, really natural.
That's very interesting that you've touched on the point that you wouldn't do it again. For the long-time listeners of myself on this podcast, I had previously done one and had my own experience. I suppose everyone's is different. I was going to say a similar experience. I did it and realized that it wasn't for me, and I learned from it. I made loads of mistakes, and if anything, I came nearly paddy last. I'm going to say I came second last. Just for moral support for myself, but the fact is, it was something that I didn't want to go down. I much prefer to train for optimal health and to feel and judge myself on how I feel, how I look, and how much energy levels I have. And that being deemed on your progress on how you look by someone who comes out, or you walk out on stage with your little tighty whities, and I go up there, and my dad's speedos at the time, some fella puts up a 4, and I go, "You're joking me, a 4?" Do you know what I mean? That hurts, and I took that on board and said, right, this is something that I don't want people to firstly experience. I don't want any more that type of experience for myself. And it's interesting. What were your reasons behind, I suppose, not going towards further in experiences in bodybuilding competitions?
Okay, there was a few stages. Obviously, main thing for me was, I'd say it was a 4-month prep, so 16-week prep. It was done very as sustainable as it possibly could. But what happened a month before I actually competed was, I know now, look, everything goes out here, but I actually lost my period. And I'm sure anyone who had competed before, especially females, they would have lost their periods as well. That was a bit of a shock. So just to know that what you're doing shuts down your reproductive system was a bit of a scare. And it took about maybe 3 or 4 months to actually get it back. Just as I got it back, ended up getting pregnant straight away and had my daughter. And just before I had my daughter, my mother was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And that was a big, big wake-up call. And it was more than about eat for your health, not for your looks. Big change. And that's why I probably have a big fascination in you as well. It's more than you actually think. Like, food is medicine. And I read so much into it when my mum, and she thankfully survived for about 6 months, but she did pass away within 6 months. But yeah, that was a big wake up call. Like, look, I'm not competing. I'm just going to do what I have to do to look after my health, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's so important. I suppose if you could expand on what your diet was previously like, I suppose then to having a serious illness in the family, then such as cancer, and then for you reading into the foods and how it affects your body, such as maybe organic foods, and what your diet was previously like to what it is right now after learning a lot about information about foods and chemicals and things down that line.
Okay, my diet, for the most part, a lot of it was, there was a lot of chemicals, would say. The one thing that springs to mind was, and you probably know what it is pre-workouts and monster drinks. And I can't even believe I'm saying that. Like as a dental professional, I'm sure like that's a lot of damage to your teeth, not just your body. And you can expand on that yourself, I'd say, even what it does to your body, but to your mouth, like it's doing so much damage. It's an acidic drink. It's going to cause enamel erosion to your teeth, and nobody wants that. But that's just the first part. It's not just what goes, down into your body. So yeah.
And that, well, I'm going to say both skin, I suppose, and teeth would be for leading towards optimal health. And I'm really a firm believer in that. I suppose then, what liquids do you drink now to what you previously did? And how have your energy levels increased in improving on your diet? And we were talking, I suppose, through DMs, that's where we connected on Instagram, on how you record your energy on a daily basis or a weekly or and a monthly.
Yeah, this was really interesting. Thankfully, I'm wearing my Apple Watch again because I was able to really track what's going on with my body. So I would have probably drank, like, again, back in the day, a lot of Monsters, a lot of coffee, hell of a lot of coffee, probably just consuming it throughout the whole day. Didn't think it affected my sleep, but it definitely did. Now it's water all the way, and it sounds awful, but I didn't actually drink water properly till I was expecting my daughter, and that was 4 years ago. So that's just kind of, that mind blows me. Right now, what I've been drinking between my meals, maybe more so in the morning, would be a cup of maca powder with cacao powder. And maybe just a little bit of honey, just a small bit of organic honey, just for taste and sweetness. But what I've noticed since taking it, we say maybe about a month, the way you can track your resting metabolic rate or your resting heart rate. On average, I probably burn about 1,400 calories just resting. Now, these are obviously only estimates, but it's went up from 1,400 nearly up to 1,700 in the last couple of months, just because I've switched to eating organic since April. And I'm using the maca powder. The maca powder is obviously amazing. When I did the research, I couldn't believe it. I was like, this stuff sounds weird. The energy I'm getting, I'm like, I'm turning into Colman right now. Like, dancing in a kitchen I was the other day. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm having a Colman moment here.
That's absolutely hilarious. There's two things I recommend to people. One of the first questions people ask me, Colman, what supplements are you taking? I'm literally taking no supplements. And if I wanted to put things into the supplements category, it would definitely be maca powder, which actually comes from a vegetable. It's related to broccoli. And it can actually naturally increase it. It contains iron. It's an adaptogenic, but that means it actually reduces stress on the body. When your body is less stressed, you have more energy levels. That also comes from vegetables, but maca powder then is a little bit easier for people. Spoon it into, I don't have it right here right now, but spoon it in. I put 15 grams is what I put. I put 15 grams of cacao powder in it too. That's magnesium. Then I put cinnamon, pink Himalayan salt, bish bash bosh, you have a drink that's literally energy filled, that's going to naturally give you exactly what you're looking for, as opposed to coffee that affects your adrenals, that affects your sleep. If your sleep that's affected, you're going down the lines of your hunger hormones are affected, and it's typically then leading to cravings. And we typically don't crave broccoli. It's highly processed sugary foods, which then again leading back to your teeth is going to have negative effects on your teeth.
Exactly. And it tastes really nice as well. Like, it's an acquired taste, but I personally love it. I put into my porridge if there's days where I just don't want to drink it. It's really nice in your oats. Really, really nice.
I love it. How did you come across that even? Because anybody that I train or mentor, I would lead them in straight away to those, firstly whole foods, then after that maca powder, again it's from a vegetable. And where did you come across it?
The maca powder. Okay. Well, there's always a reason behind it, but I'm trying to find ways to try and boost fertility because I'm have my third child. It's taking a little bit longer, and I think it's just with the stress going on with everything between COVID in work. I can't believe I said that word, but it does put a lot of stress. I wasn't going to mention it, but like, look, it is what it is. There's a little bit of stress going on. And when I read into it, I was like, what can help in a natural way to reduce your stress, something that can adapt with my body, because I can't quit my job. You know, I know it's stressful. I love what I do, but there's a lot of stress involved with it. It's like, what can I do? I can meditate. I can try out Maca powder, but not only does it help me relax by adapting to my hormones, but it's also improved my cycle, believe it or not. Like I actually don't get PMS, which was amazing. Like, boom, my time of the month came and I couldn't believe it. Whereas before I'd be so cranky, I would break out. I had very, very sore breast. Like that was me in a nutshell every single month. And the last month, like, it's just been a super. As Fiona Barry, she's an acupuncturist in Cork. I went to her for a while and she said to me, you want your period to be a beautiful period. And that's exactly what it was. Not that any period is beautiful, but can't believe I'm talking about periods with Colman.
It's a natural thing. And as a personal trainer, I have to talk with women. I should train a high percentage of women on the organic fitness program. When I train and mentor and coach them, I have to know about their cycles. I have to know how their mood is. And as a result of that, if their energy levels are low, is it the time of the month? Then we need to reduce down to high intensity training and maybe more a little bit low intensity. Like, it's a natural thing that a lot of people, and in particular men, I suppose, were afraid to talk about for a long time.
And you know what's funny? You were saying the magnesium in the Maca powder. I found coming up in between my luteal phase and the time of the month, I would crave a lot of like chocolate, sweet things. But because I'm getting the magnesium in the Maca powder and other nutrients, I just find there's no need. You don't need to crave them. Like, you can eat them if you want, but like there's no real need to actually eat them. So that's another plus. So many pluses to the Maca powder.
It's just literally the fact that magnesium and I suppose protein are the two things that, again, that I would lean towards people eating on a regular basis from the cacao powder. And 15 grams of that, this is a fact now, you can hit a lot of people take magnesium multivitamins and magnesium tablets. I lean towards, before that, try get it from Whole Foods. So there's 4 foods I recommend to people. It's the cacao powder. 15 grams of that is 40% of your overall magnesium. That's nearly half. Then if you had 100 grams of any beans, I don't mean Heinz beans, I mean either kidney beans, I mean chickpeas, I mean cannelli beans, any of those ones. And next one then will be hemp seeds. Hemp seeds are complete protein and they have healthy fats and they contain magnesium. Those 4 foods together will hit you 100%, which is the daily recommended amount, 300 milligrams. Just think 4 foods will get you your magnesium in a daily basis without taking supplements. If you want to take supplements in on top of that, that's absolutely positively fine. Oh, dark leafy greens is the 4th. Apologies. So you have Maca powder, you have cacao powder, you have 100 grams of either spinach or kale, you have beans, and then the final one is hemp seeds, 15 grams of those.
And you sleep better as well. You sleep better, especially now. A lot of people are going back training, and I don't know about you, but I'm sure you're in great shape right now, but my triceps are killing me. Like, obviously they're bigger than your biceps and I am in so much pain. Like, but the magnesium is definitely helping as well, especially with recovery.
Yeah. Those 2 things I'm focusing: magnesium, protein, fiber. Again, those, and where the majority of those come from. If you really want to get all those in one, eat dark leafy greens. You have each one of those. But I wouldn't be focusing on greens. Whether people, I do have listeners that are vegans or vegetarians. Don't be fooled by a broccoli head has as much protein as a steak. 100 grams of broccoli has 2 grams of protein, as opposed to a steak that has 25 grams per 100. You can eat a lot of broccoli equivalent to that, but just don't focus on loads of benefits to broccoli. Eat broccoli, especially organic.
Oh, I love broccoli. Love the stuff. Especially the broccoli stems, the ones that you can get organic, obviously. But yeah, I've switched eating to organic now since April, and the whole family, like, obviously the family has no choice, but you know, they're benefiting. My son is actually, he's nearly 14 now, and he's asthmatic. Well, he stopped taking his inhaler, excuse me. He stopped taking his inhalers actually a couple of months ago, and he's no eczema as well. So they're all the benefits to eating organic. So there you go again.
Absolutely amazing that you're after mentioning that. Okay.
I said I'd say that to you. I didn't say that to you on the voice notes, but there you go.
I used to have asthma. So I still play hurling football at an intermediate level based in Waterford, being from Kilmeaden. The fact is that I used to have to take inhalers every single time, either before training and or before matches, and maybe sometimes after matches, because it was brought on by excessive exercise or vigorous exercise. I used to have eczema. I used to scratch the backs of my legs and hands until they were red raw. since I have taken control over my diet, and that's why diet is so important. It literally can change your whole, I suppose, outlook on health. Because I used to have to lather on creams before I go to bed, and hopefully just have my nails with prunes so that I wouldn't literally tear the legs off myself. And it was such a difference in, I suppose, overall health. And like, that's the smaller things.
I can't believe that. Like, that just goes to show. That really does go to show.
I'm totally different, man. And not that my diet was ever bad. I suppose, touching on my own experience, I lived at home until I was 24, and the meals were solid. We'll call it family meals. You had bacon and cabbage. You had the likes of lasagna. You had maybe meatballs, with a chicken, roast chicken on a Sunday, casserole. It was heavily meat based, and I'm not anti-meat. I'm just high quality. It just is a little more expensive, and some people I suppose if I was to say it, and I would lean towards more vegetables and a high percentage of plant-based foods in my diet. But I'm not anti-meat. When I do get chicken or beef, I get it from hopefully a reputable source so that I can know where it came from. And secondly, it's definitely organically. Why? Because then I can make either chicken bone broth from it and then gain the advantage of improved collagen in that. And then again, that's good for your gut health. All the small little things that they previously used to do. Like my granny used to do chicken bone broth for years, and there used to be half as much chemicals back around then. The fact is that we've gone so far away from what food actually was, and then we're expecting it for a chicken fillet for €1 or less than €1. God, it's a great deal. But the price of stuff, of food, is not paid at the counter. If you get something for 49 cents, whether it be tomatoes that are coming into season in Ireland and kind of organic, grow your own, it's not paid right there. It's either paid by the cost of some poor chap picking it, or the chemicals that are sprayed onto it, or the harvesting and the drying of some crops such as oats. If anyone wants to switch up their diet to a little bit more organic, try the oats, because they're heavily sprayed in the drying process. And literally, I suppose that the one I would recommend is Flavins. What I do is what I recommend. They're from Waterford as well. And like, that's for 50 cents. If you tell me you can't afford extra 50 cents, I'll send you 50 cents and you can buy yourself your first organic packet of Flavins oats. And that's the God honest truth. I really do want people to be happier and healthier. And it starts with the foods you eat on a regular basis, a daily basis.
And it's not that expensive. Like, you might be talking, like 50 cents, like you said, and that goes with vegetables as well. And like, even it's beautiful to see even Super Value have their own little organic section. It's really nice.
Where do you do your shopping, I suppose, and maybe showing people?
Mixture between a little bit of Lidl, because I don't know how good their organic stuff is, but some of their stuff is organic, and it does, you do pay a little bit extra. Simple things like even berries. You're saying, like, the importance of going organic with berries, especially. So I pop a little of some berries into my daughter's box just before going to school, and that she, I just feel like she's off to school, she's eating the best she can. She's full of beans. Well, she's full of beans anyway, but yeah, it would mostly be Lidl and Super Value, mostly Super Value for veg.
Yeah, no, that's great. That firstly, you're after seeing the experience yourself, you're passing that now on to your children, and as a result of that, they're going to be influenced by the food choices that you have given them, and giving them the best start possible. Because the sooner people realize that they can have added benefits when they consume things that are chemical free, whether they grow a little bit of their own, they go to a country market or go to Lidl or Super Value, any of the other large stores out there. There's so much out there that you can consume on a regular basis that can aid in. Do we have a little visitor there?
Yeah. She's a bit shy.
That's all right. She loves organic blueberries.
She does. Actually, I meant to ask you, I probably did before, where would you get your whole chicken? Like, it's really hard to find an organic chicken.
Yes, it's certainly. Yes, very good question. I do go to a high end store based in Clonakilty. Super Value Scallies is where I go. And the fact is that they're not available everywhere, but I'm going to have someone on the podcast very, very soon. And the owner, or the supplier of those organic chickens is based in Kilkenny. And then as a result of that, literally it's supply and demand. If you, Alma, or anyone else was to say that, what, Super Value is down in West Cork and are getting them from Kilkenny, is there any chance that we could get that? And go, yes, no problem. It's the whole idea of what you ask for is what you get, because people have this produce there for them. There's loads, and right now there's more homegrown stuff, and coming into season right now, you're going to have tomatoes, kale, coming in, asparagus, all in season. Whether you get it organic or not, you see these foods that end up in little rarities. But if you can get them again, Irish and organic, you're getting the gold standard. That's what I always recommend: local, fresh, and organic. You're supporting local, you're getting it fresh, and you're getting it without the likes of harsh chemicals wherever you get it from. But Kilkenny is where he's based, and I've literally been in contact with him, so he'll be a very he'll be a
Lovely.
podcast guest. Yeah,
That'd be nice. Looking forward to that.
yeah.
Because it lasts days. Like you could honestly make a chicken. You could have some for a Sunday roast and just have some left over for like sandwiches or a salad or something the next day for the kids. And if they're going to school or whatever. So you're not the only person benefiting; it's everyone else as well.
Totally, yeah. And chicken bone broth, is that something you've ever had, I suppose, in your diet or ever tried yourself even?
Never, as because my parents never actually cooked it, not that I know of, but I do know my sister swears by it. She's like, if you're ever unwell, bone broth. If you're not feeling yourself, bone broth. Bone broth is the answer for everything. Like it's funny if she's listening to this now, she'll say, can't believe I'm getting my mention.
Give her a name.
Shirley.
Shirley. Shout out Central here. I suppose I just want to touch back on a little bit about training and how you fit it in as a busy mom of two at this moment in time. And a lot of people struggle with, I suppose, finding a routine. And what is your routine, and how do you figure out that you're getting, or you can get in your training so you can stay in with the condition that you are, and I suppose make it a lifestyle?
Okay, yeah. I think I was someone who would train nearly 5-6 days a week, and you know what, it suits people, and that's fine, but with my lifestyle and considering like the long hours I do at work and the kids, it's just not feasible. So 3 days is what I do. I do a split workout, so I would do a pull, push, and legs, probably giving a day break between both of them. So I would normally maybe do, we say, a Monday, Thursday, and Saturday kind of a thing. Just finished legs on Friday, so I'm feeling it now on the legs. But to be honest, it was Dave Young. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He would have done a program with me like last year, and I've just been following it since, because it's just, you've got the staples down right. It's 30 minutes in and out with my lifestyle. You can get it done. There's no excuses, and you're happy afterwards. Like, who doesn't want a happy mom at the end of the
day? Yeah, right. How did you find, I suppose, training at home with a high percentage of your mostly everybody would had to train from home unless they had their own facilities?
Being honest, I didn't really like it. Really didn't. I did like it maybe for the first month or so, but my gym was like my getaway. I would go on my own. I would like just zone out, do my thing, and come back, and I feel like a new woman. Whereas you've got like, my husband will be sitting on the couch, my daughter will be running around me while I'm trying to do squats. I'm like, no, it's just not for me, not right now. So I'm just in my element right now that I'm back to the gym.
But it's a social aspect as well. It's to get away from whatever it is, and in between it, listen to this podcast. The fact is that you have that getaway. It's a release to get your fix of those happy hormones that you were touching on there. And that's what a lot of people use the gym for, a de-stressor, and it gives you so many different advantages. That's why I always love, like, you can improve your diet, but combine it with training together, and literally that's the golden nugget or the golden ticket for a happier and healthier individual.
Exactly. And funny enough, when I went training last week, the atmosphere in there, it was just amazing, because everyone's in the same boat now. They're like, I want to do better. You can just see it. You can clearly just see it, and nobody cares now, really. They walk in and, they could be slightly overweight, like we all are. We're all there to improve ourselves at the end of the day. And I just love it. Like, I feel so comfortable there. So
not comparing yourself to others is so important. And I suppose trained a couple of individuals. I'm a personal trainer. I did one-to-one for a long time. I'm doing online at the minute, but when maybe gyms open up and back again, I might be doing more one-to-ones. But the fact is, there were a lot of people that were scared, and depending on where your starting point is, to go into the gym on their own. And that was, I suppose, an introduction when I took on people, in particular, I suppose, people at their earlier stage of their fitness journey. The fact is, they were afraid, and they were comparing themselves to everybody else, and they were looking around to see who was looking at them. But for the majority of people, most people just want to go in, they do their own thing, they're more concentrated on themselves than they are anything else that's around them.
That I couldn't agree more. They're too busy focusing on themselves to even think about anything else. And if, you know what, I just say fair play. That's all I say when I see them. I think my hat's off to you. Like, honestly, you're doing better for yourself by going to the gym.
Totally. Getting in
You
any
sleep
form
better.
of workout. Yeah.
Everything.
So I suppose I'll finish off by asking you to maybe give the listeners your social media handles so that they can contact you indirectly or even send you a couple of messages. Where's the best place for them to contact you, Alma?
Wow, jeez. Okay. It's definitely Instagram because I spend most of my time there. My handle is Fit Dental Mom. So it's just Fit Dental Moms, one word. And that page has been there since the day I say 2012, but I just changed it when I started dental hygiene in school. It's like, what would be a good name that would suit my life? It's all three aspects of my life: the fitness side, the dentistry side, and motherhood. So yeah, that's where I am. You can DM me. I don't really do emails at the moment just because just caught up really, really busy. But yeah, the best place is definitely Instagram.
Actually, well, I have you on, I suppose, about dental health. There's a couple of things that I do for oral health. I wonder what would your thoughts be on a couple of different these. I would drink, firstly, I would drink cloves because they're antibacterial with warm water for, I suppose, my oral health. Following that, then I would definitely have either ginger and warm water for, again, those antioxidants and antibacterial. With the final one that I do for oral health is oil pulling with either extra virgin olive oil or coconut oil with turmeric, which does absolutely stain all my hands, the countertop, any top that I'm wearing, and in between. But I would swish it around for 20 minutes and then spit it out into either the compost bin or the grass, not the toilet or the sink, because it blocks it. I tell you on previous experiences. So yeah, that's what I would do for my overall health, and religiously would floss or even have a floss toothbrush. So what are your thoughts on, or how do you come across oil pulling or any of those remedies for teeth brushing?
I've had a few people come across it actually. To be honest, there is little research, not a lot, but there is some research saying that there are benefits to doing the oil pulling. But like how it makes you feel afterwards, it does help with some inflammation, and it does help. Same with, we say, even if you're talking about Manuka honey, that it has antibacterial properties. But in saying that, Manuka honey is still a sugar, so make sure that you do remove it. Although it has its benefits, just make sure that you do remove it with your either floss or interdental brushes or your brushing. But yeah, the turmeric, your teeth look so sparkly. They look really good.
But
Would you find turmeric would stain the teeth a little?
Would turmeric stain the teeth?
Would you find that they'd stain the teeth, or?
Yeah, they do. But the thing is, directly after that, I would rinse out my mouth then with water, warm water, not boiling, and then spit it out into any immediate area, not the sink or the toilet. And then I would brush my teeth directly after that. And that's what I would typically do for a routine of cleaning my teeth. And it does. But I like people, same with training and same with, I suppose, anything food related. It's the simple things, most certainly. I'm going to tell you, most people know that they should brush their teeth from that's very funny.
My daughter model.
The model teeth. Most people know that you simply, I don't know, since the day you're able to brush your own teeth since you were a child, 365 days a year you should brush your teeth morning and evening. But do people do that? Does everybody? Rain, hail, or shine? That is the God honest truth. Most people know what foods they should eat. They should know they should be doing training, but they don't do that. I can pretty much hand on heart saying, fairly religiously, unless something went seriously wrong, I do not brush my teeth, if that makes sense. If I was going to an event, I'd bring a toothbrush. I've been known to go out on town and have a toothbrush in my back pocket. I swear to God, that's how healthy I do, or love my oral health, and because that's one of the pillars.
The women are going to love you, Colman. Like honestly, if you're looking after your oral health, it's yeah. I'm telling you now. But like the thing with oral hygiene is, I always compare it to fitness. It's like you don't get the results straight away. It's consistency over intensity. Don't scrub the bejesus out of your teeth. Just nice gentle brushing every single day, twice a day, is going to get you the results. Same if you're in the gym. 9 hours training a day is not going to get you results. 20-30 minutes a day, every day, will get you the results. It's the consistency over intensity, 100%.
That was such a great analogy to bring between training, foods, and the brushing your teeth on a consistent
My poor patients, I'm always associating things like with either nutrition or fitness. I always tend to bring it in just because it relates to me, but it might not relate to everyone. But it's a really good analogy. And it's so true. Yeah.
But I suppose that is an unbelievable way to wrap it up, between looking after your teeth, looking after your health, and making sure you're increasing the amount of, I suppose, organic foods in your diet. Just want to say, Alma, thanks very much for coming on to the Organic Fitness podcast with myself. And I always finish up these podcasts by saying, stay tuned, stay classy, and keep it organic.